Ladies and gentlemen, now in today's video we're going to be covering and breaking down my updated Marvel Contest of Champions progression guide for August 2019. Now what this progression guide aims to do is tell you the next step or next bit of content that you should be focusing on, and we go into a lot of detail in this guide in regards to what is probably the next best step, and also we do have a video help section as well. So it starts with like Act 1 completion, beginner, Act 2, and we're going to extend all the way down to stuff like all of the different variants, Act 6, and also Labyrinth of Legends. So think of this as, you know, if you get stuck, if you need a little bit of help, this is the what should I do next guide. And we also have hopefully a really helpful video section where we have access and direct links to all sorts of streams doing this content, and also video guides that I've sat down and recorded as well, and also links to very important fights such as like the Collector, Maestro, and all sorts of fun stuff. So yeah, I've spent quite a bit of time updating it this afternoon, so hopefully somebody finds it useful, and a link to this of course is going to be in the description of the video. But anyway, let's start from the top. So the very first step on anybody's progression is the completion of Act 1. Want to get that bashed out as soon as possible, and also if you need the 3-star plus additional units for masteries, like Act 1 exploration certainly isn't too bad to do. It's quite quick, quite easy for a lot of people, and the stream is a link to the recent free-to-play account that we started a few months ago as well. We've also got, after that, you want to look at monthly event beginner completion for the 3-star shards and also the 2-star version of Cable. Beginner exploration really isn't worth it for a lot of people, so just quickly, you know, grab the quick and easy rewards for completion and then move on to Act 2 completion. Now, Act 2 completion, you got to blast through it anyway, but for a lot of players, it's probably quite a good idea to ignore the Act 2 exploration, because it's a bit of a waste of time and energy. The reward is like a guaranteed 3-star champion, which, you know, for a lot of people, when you get to that level, it just really isn't that needed. So my advice would be do the completion, ignore the exploration there, and then once you've done Act 2 completion, bash out the monthly event normal completion, and this is something that's good to do every single month, both for the units and resources as well, especially in your first few months of playing the game. And once you've done the normal completion, you can potentially look at the exploration of normal as well, because normal, you know, the difficulty isn't too hard, and if you can explore 100% normal, you start to get a little bit of tier 1 alpha as well, and also a guaranteed 3-star champion. So if that is like useful to you at your current stage of progression, you can potentially do it. But if you're finding Act 2, hey, you know, this is a little bit too easy, then maybe you want to look at the next step. So the next step after that is really to look at unlocking and learning how to parry and dexterity, aka evade. And these are two core skills to like absolutely dominating the end game of Marvel Contest of Champions, but basically the sooner you learn the better. So if you've just picked up the game today, if you can learn how to parry and evade as soon as possible, you're going to have a much easier time. But you definitely want to look into this before you start your completion of Act 3, because Act 3 gives you like a really good piece of content to practice on. Again, if you want to look into this a little bit earlier, it's completely fine too. I heavily do encourage looking into it as soon as possible, but this is the time where if you don't know how to parry and evade, you are going to start to struggle when it comes to the completion of Act 3, especially on Thanos as well, because if you don't know how to parry him and dodge his attacks, then you're going to get absolutely ruined and find yourself struggling a little bit on Thanos there. So evading and parrying is very core to MCOC. Once you got Thanos down and completed Act 3, you'll be very close, or if not have your first 4-star champion via the shards, especially with the new objective system as well. So then you want to look at monthly event heroic completion there, which is always good to do, really until you don't need 4-star champions anymore, because, you know, you get a good amount of like tier 1 alpha there, you get like 4-star hero crystal shards as well, a little bit of tier 4 basic. There's a lot of good stuff that comes with the completion of heroic on a monthly basis there. And then after you've got heroic completion, you want to look at Act 3 100% exploration. So doing this is going to give you a guaranteed 4-star hero crystal along with a few other rewards as well. They kind of jacked up the rewards for Act 3 100% fairly recently as well. So if we have a look at the overall rewards for 100%, you got the guaranteed 4-star, a couple of tier 4 basics to allow you, you know, it's like 2 out of 3 of them to potentially potentially get your first rank 4 4-star champion, and if you go into like Act 4 with one of those, you can have a much easier time, and just like a big old stack of additional rewards as well. So Act 3 100% is well worth most progressing players' time there. And also, if you can do Act 3 100% exploration, you can probably as well do the monthly event Heroic 100% exploration. So yeah, if you got that on lockdown as well, there's a ton of great rewards. You can start getting 5-star hero crystal shards as well, so you can start working toward your very first 5-star character, but it does take a while before you're going to see one. Now, after you've got Act 3 100% on lock, you've got 100% Heroic on lock, the next thing you want to probably focus on is the completion of Act 4. It's going to be a little bit longer than the previous content. Act 4 is a little bit drawn out, but it does have some really crazy experience. So if you've got like a 40-50% experience boost in your inventory, when you're doing Act 4 completion, it is a very good time to use any XP boost that you might have available to you, because you're going to get a lot of XP and, you know, gain levels very fast doing the Act 4 completion. And also, once you've done Act 4 completion and got Maestro down, then you want to have a look at the completion of the monthly event Master Mode. It's going to challenge you a little bit more, but everything after the completion of Act 4 is going to start to get a little bit more difficult quite quickly, and this is where you really need to have your ability to parry and ability to evade on lockdown. So it's all about practice, but Master Mode completion is a very good way to do that. And also, once you got the completion, you want to have a look at 100% exploration. For exploration, because there are always like easy and hard paths, this is kind of the territory where ideally you want to have a few 4-star champions at rank 4 and above, because you're going to get even more like tier 4 basic from Act 4 completion as well. So if you got a few of those, you can have a look at monthly event Master Mode 100% exploration, and the Master Mode exploration rewards were buffed a few months ago, and they're quite a bit nicer than they used to be in comparison. So if we have a look at the rewards for completion, you're getting, you know, an ultimate crystal, which has a chance at a 4-star champion, like 500 4-star shards as well. You get 2,000 5-star shards for the exploration. Also a guaranteed 4-star there, tier 4 basic, loads of just really valuable rewards. But I think that the most important thing, especially when you're progressing, is try to do as much as you can when it comes to 100% Master Mode. So if you can't do like Chapter 3 100%, try and do Chapter 1 100%. If you can do Chapter 1 100%, then go for Chapter 2 100%, because every chapter that you 100%, that's 500 additional 4-star shards. So, you know, even if you can't 100% the whole thing, if you can do like Chapter 1 and 2, like a couple of months back to back, that's like another 4-star champion hero crystal. And hey, it might be a really good champion, might be a god tier, and it might give you the firepower you need to extend your progression a little bit further as well. And then after that, you have a couple of bits of content that you can do, or if you feel confident enough to go for Uncollected, you should go for Uncollected. But if you don't feel confident enough in Act 5, then you should probably like focus on these things to kind of hone your combat skills a little bit more. So Act 4 exploration 100%, very time consuming. The rewards are a little bit they're not too bad. Like, you get a lot of resources for doing it, especially tier 4 basic, and again, it can be very good to practice. Realm of Legends, the rewards nowadays are a little bit as well, but it's very good for practice. Realm of Legends is incredibly simple, and if you can parry and evade and get those on lockdown, then it's very easy to do, provided, you know, you build a good team, have a good damage dealer, and also a way to deal with Realm of Legends Wolverine as well. But if you have the skills, you want to go for Uncollected as soon as possible, because there are a lot of rewards upgrades, upgraded calendar, crystals, all sorts of crazy stuff that comes with Uncollected. So ideally, you want to try and get Uncollected as soon as you possibly can. So Act 5 Chapter 1 completion is fairly straightforward in comparison to Act 5 Chapter 2 completion, but all of this can be done with 4-star 440 champions, and we've got a guide, we've got the collector fight, we've also got the free-to-play stream as well from a couple of months ago if you want to see it done with some 440 champions there. But yeah, Uncollected is when kind of the big endgame rewards start to unlock a little bit more in Marvel Contest of Champions, so it's a very important milestone for any like progressing player that really wants to dive into the endgame content to get to as soon as you possibly can. So yeah, then you get Uncollected, and then your focus is on completing every single monthly event on Uncollected difficulty. And once you do that, then your focus is on 100% exploration of every single monthly event quest as well, because the monthly Uncollected event quest rewards are absolutely insane on a monthly basis, especially if you've like just got to the milestone, because it's like 7,500 5-star shards and also 2,500 6-star shards. So if you do Uncollected for 3 months and get Act 5 completion, that is your first 6-star champion there. Not to mention you can start getting tier 5 basic fragments, a lot more tier 2 alpha, and also for the completion as well, there's like every single chapter is like 900 4-star shards. So even if you can't do the full completion, if you can complete chapter 1 and chapter 2, that's like another 4-star champion every single month. So yeah, you just got to push as much as you can when it comes to Uncollected, man. It's very important to strive as much as you can and try and get it 100% on farm as quickly as you possibly can. And the difficulty of Uncollected, it does vary from month to month when it comes to 100%. So some months it's going to be a little bit more challenging, some months it's going to be a little bit more straightforward. But if you've got a few good 4-star champions at rank 5 and above, then you should be able to get it done most months, providing you do have the skill and ability to kind of progress and persevere there. So yeah, that is goal number 19 there. And the next thing is you always want to have a stack of units and resources saved up for occasional challenge events. Now, in the current state of the game, it's a little bit rare that we see these, but in the past there have been loads of celebrity challenges, champion challenges, and stuff like content creator boss rushes. There should be one next month, and also stuff like a 6-star boss rush challenge. So it's always good to have a stack of units set aside for challenge events that come up, because much like Uncollected, a lot of the content in this game is permanent. So you always want to focus your time and resources on stuff that has a limited time expiry. So, you know, just something to keep in mind there. And then, you know, once you got all that stuff on lockdown, you maybe want to have a look at Act 5, Chapter 3, and Chapter 4 completion. And we got some free-to-play streams from what is it, a couple of months ago, getting both of those done. So yeah, the rewards for Act 5 completion are really, really good. There's a lot of T4CC and a lot of Tier 2 Alpha associated with that. So if I just quickly, you know, show you guys in terms of the story quest here, what you got to expect with Act 5 completion. So yeah, you got 2,500 6-star shards, you got 5-star crystal, loads of T2 Alpha, loads of T4CC, but also in the Chapter 4 rewards as well, there's like 5,000 5-star shards, half tier 2 alpha, tier 5 basic, 60 T4CC frag crystals, and 1 T4CC. So yeah, there's just a lot of really, really good stuff associated with Act 5 completion overall, man. And definitely, you know, if you're struggling on a monthly Uncollected, maybe you want to, you know, dip your toe in Act 5, Chapter 3, and Chapter 4, see if you can push a little bit further and maybe get forward there a little bit more. But then after that, so you have a little bit of a choice of what you want to do. I would probably recommend that most players at this point, once you've got Uncollected on farm, Act 5 completed, you probably want to start looking at doing Act 5 100% exploration, because the 100% exploration rewards are just crazy, man. They allow you to get like a generic 5-star gem, also a 5-star rank up gem crystal, which guarantees a rank 4 gem for a champion. So it's going to be like a random class there, but it's super valuable. A couple of tier 5 basics, so you can get your first rank 5 champion. Another 2,500 what is it, 6-star hero crystal shards, and there's loads of stuff like, you know, more 5-star champions, more 5-star shards, 2 5-star awakening gems. Like, there's a crazy amount of stuff across all of the chapters. So yeah, 100% Act 5 is definitely well worth doing if you're kind of at that level once you've You know, got every Uncollected on farm and completed Act 5. And then after you've done that, then you probably want to start having a bit of a look at the variant level content. Now, Polar Opposites variant, at least in my opinion, is the easiest one to get the completion done, but you will need ideally some good tech champions, a double immunity champion, and a champion that can incinerate for Kang. All of this stuff is kind of covered in the guide there. Once you've done the completion for the Polar Opposites variant, you probably want to have a look at the completion for the Mystery in the Micro Realms variant. So for this one, you need some strong, like, XL champions, so some very large champions, or characters that have very good heavy attacks, like Hyperion, Domino, and a few others as well. We've got a full guide for this, a guide talking about top champions as well, and also a completion stream if you want to have a bit of a look there. So yeah, the full completion for both of these pieces of content is just crazy in terms of the rewards, and if you've done Act 5 100%, the completion for either one of these shouldn't be like too much more difficult, but if you can get the completion, man, the rewards are just absolutely stacked. If I just bring them up in game here, so you can see what you're dealing with in terms of the rewards for completion. So for every single chapter, and this is really worth noting, if you just complete like one chapter, you get a 5-star rank 2 to 3 gem, which is the equivalent of like 3 T4CC, like 4 tier 4 basic, and a load of like tier 1 alpha and additional stuff as well. So these gems you get for every single chapter. So for doing the full completion, man, that's like 9 T4CC right there, just from those 2 to 3 gems alone. Again, they're going to be random, man, but you're going to get a lot of them in variant content. But also overall for the completion rewards, you get an additional 5-star rank 4 gem, a fully formed 5-star crystal, 9,000 tier 5 basic fragments, so it gets you a little bit closer to potentially another rank 5 champion, and also 600 6-star shards and 500,000 gold as well. So the completion is just great for these, man. Really worth doing, like, as soon as you possibly can. And Polar Opposites and Mystery in the Micro Realms, you know, they both have like easier paths in comparison to Ultron's Assault, I would say. But Ultron's Assault variant, the chapter 1 completion, the very first chapter, is nowhere near as difficult as some of the later chapters, and there are ways to like cheese some of the more annoying fights in chapter 1 as well. So definitely check out the guide and also the free-to-play stream, but because, you know, you're only getting like another 2 to 3 gem from that, I definitely, you know, put that on the back burner in comparison to the first 2 variant completions, man. They're a little bit more valuable with the overall rewards there. And then after you've done kind of those low-hanging fruit completions, you want to have a look at 100% pushing toward doing a variant. Now, depending on your roster, either Mystery in the Micro Realm or Polar Opposites can be a little bit easier. I think there are more options available and more counters to a lot of the fights in Polar Opposites, because it doesn't have any requirement on like XL champions or heavy attacks. You can use anyone you want in your roster. The only penalty is that if they're not tech, they've got minus 50% attack. So it does open a lot of different options for variant number 3 Polar Opposites there. So yeah, you probably want to work your way through in order there. Chapter 100%, chapter 200%, chapter 300%, and the rewards are just crazy for doing 100% variant overall, because you get a rank 5 rank up gem, so allows you to get another 5-star champion at rank 5, also another 5-star awakening gem, a load of tier 5 basic, also a fully formed 5-star hero crystal. And if you are doing the brand new variant Polar Opposites, you've got these 2015 and 2016 rank up gem crystals, and there are a lot of crazy characters that you can use these on and take them up to rank 4, such as like you got like Venom, Quake, She-Hulk, Hyperion, Colossus and Old Man Logan when they get buffed. There's just so many different characters that you can use one of these gems on. So yeah, it's really good to try and get your hands on those as soon as you possibly can. And then we've got Mystery in the Micro Realm, 100%, just working your way through chapter 100%, chapter 200%, then chapter 300%. So yeah, they're definitely like some tricky fights when it comes to 100% in either of the variants. But once you get through them, man, the rewards are well worth it. They are absolutely fantastic there. Now, we move on to the next section, which is where 5-star rank 4s and above are ideally recommended. Now, step number 35 is Act 6.1 completion, also known as getting Cavalier. So for Cavalier and Act 6, you can only bring in 5-star champions, whereas in comparison to some of the variant content, you can still use 4-star champions to do as well. So exciting to keep in mind, and you might get to this point and you might not necessarily have a 5-star option that is a strong bleed immune champion to deal with the crossbones and get Cavalier, so you've kind of got to weigh it up. But if you have like a strong 5-star champion that is bleed immune at rank 4, you probably have the potential to get Cavalier, and if you can do that a little bit earlier, man, hey, that might be really good to do instead of 100% the first 2 variants. So this one can potentially be done earlier, but if you need access to a lot more 5-star champions, then, you know, variant is a great way to do that as well. So yeah, you can do Cavalier earlier, man, but it's all about just having like a strong enough 5-star bleed immune champion for crossbones. Now, step number 36 is a really important skill to have a much better time in the endgame content of Marvel Contest of Champions, and that is learning to intercept. Much like parry and evade, the sooner you learn this, the better time you're going to have overall, but intercepting is very tricky to kind of get a good understanding of and master. But Dork Lessons has an amazing guide to intercepting, so if you can learn it, at the very least around here, like, it's a really good time to pick up the skill. So yeah, we've got a link to Dork Lessons guide there, man, a very good one to check out there. Now 37 is kind of a bit of a combo with 38. So 37, I've actually got Road to the Labyrinth of Legends, and the reason Road to Labyrinth is so low down this list is because the rewards just absolutely suck for it. It's honestly not worth the time, the energy, the units, the resources, unless you're like ready to do an initial clear of Labyrinth of Legends. So that's, you know, my personal bit of advice there. Like, I've put it on the back burner for my second free-to-play account because the rewards are just really bad for the amount of effort invested to get an initial clear in Chapter 4, man. So yeah, don't do it until you're ready for Labyrinth, but once you're ready for Labyrinth, you can go through, get the very lackluster rewards, and then hopefully push for your initial Labyrinth of Legends easy clear path. And this is, you know, only something you really want to attempt if you've got a solid rank 5 level 65 damage dealer. So if you've got a good champion to get through Labyrinth, man, the easy path like isn't too bad. We've also got a link to the live stream from the OG free-to-play account doing Labyrinth of Legends with rank 5 Medusa. So yeah, if you've got the skills, man, and you're prepared with a good rank 5 and you've got some boost, it really isn't too bad to get the initial completion in Labyrinth. And then after that, you probably want to have a look at the Ultron's Assault variant and go for the Chapter 2 completion. This is restricted to Tech and Mystic champions, so you need to make sure you've got some good characters, but we have a guide and also a stream there. Also, Ultron's Assault variant Chapter 3 completion, we have a video guide for as well. It's good to be prepared. The Ultron's Assault variant Chapter 3 completion is really annoying to do. The Ultron bosses are very punishing, and you do need to go in prepared. So just kind of keep that in mind, and you can only use Cosmic and Science champions. So, you know, Ultron's Assault is by far the most restrictive variant out there. So yeah, it's really a pain, man. But after that, you've got 100% Ultron's Assault Chapter 1, and these really do kind of ramp up in terms of difficulty. 100% Chapter 1, like, honestly, isn't too bad. There are some annoying fights when it comes to 100%, but it's alright, man. And then you got Ultron's Assault variant Chapter 2, a little bit more difficult. There are some very annoying fights there, and Chapter 3, you have some very annoying fights. So yeah, you got that to look forward to, man. It's a really good time, but once you do that, again, you're going to get the standard 100% variant reward, so another rank 5 5-star champion in the roster, which is a pretty good time. And then after that, you can have a bit of a look, if you want to, at the completion for Act 6 Chapter 2, only if you've got an option for Mr. Sinister, that is a strong Fury Poison Immune champion, and also a counter for the champion that's ideally somebody like She-Hulk, Captain America Infinity War, Symbiote Supreme, and some of the other counters that are potentially available to the champion, man. He's a bit of a tricky boss to deal with, but if you have a look at some champion YouTube videos, there are many different takedowns there. Also, after that, once you got your Act 6.2 completion, there isn't too much left in the game right now, but the stuff that is left in the game is a big old grind. So you got Act 6.1 100% exploration. The rewards for this are really like borderline just not worth the effort, man. Well, same with like Act 6.2 100% currently, because there are a lot of paths that is very, very time consuming as well. But Act 6.1 is nowhere near as bad as Act 6.2, man, which is like right at the very bottom of the list. So if you've got a really good option for 100% Labyrinth of Legends, ideally somebody like a Ghost or an Aegon, if you've got like the Blade Trinity, that can work out really, really well. That is probably your next objective and pretty much the second to last thing to do. Arguably, the rewards for Labyrinth of Legends are a little bit outdated for the amount of effort that you have to invest to actually get it done, because it's very, very time consuming. But hey, once you've done Labyrinth of Legends, man, you've got Act 6.2 100% exploration, which is just a terrible piece of content. There are so many different gates, so many requirements, and yeah, only I think like 100, 200 people in the game have done it so far, just because it's so much hassle and the rewards just absolutely suck for it. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about, you know, the last one too much specifically there. But hopefully you did enjoy today's updated progression guide for Marvel Contest of Champions August 2019. If you did find this guide useful, please do smash that like button. It'd be greatly appreciated. But aside from that, take care. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.